Hi beauties, welcome back to your official Hyaluron Pen channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I want to talk about client consultation. I want to try and do a client consultation for you and just discuss a few pointers. I'm not going to do word for word my document because I've got to keep some secrets for my students, but I want to give you guys the very important aspects of making a consultation comprehensive enough to identify when somebody is and when somebody isn't a good candidate for Hyaluron Pen procedures. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, please share. Any feedback and interaction is highly appreciated. And thank you so much for the ladies who requested this video. Clearly there's need for this. Let's go. Your client consultation is not only important because of all these hundreds of documents that each client needs to fill out, but it's also important because you need to have the opportunity to establish trust with your client and set boundaries. I know that I will always have a successful treatment and that I'll always have a happy client. Not necessarily because of what I'm able to do, but because of my consultation. That's one aspect of my treatment, is my opportunity to identify that I can indeed satisfy this client and that she is going to be happy with the end result. So again, not just because of the documentation, from your legal perspective, record keeping, pre and post care, so relaying the correct information, properly preparing your client for the treatment, but also because of the opportunity to create trust and to set boundaries. Should something go wrong during my Hyaluron Pen treatment or after, let's say my client does experience severe swelling, if I've already established trust with my client, then I will be able to guide her through the process and she will trust me. She will listen to what I've got to say. If I haven't done this step correctly and I've just basically rushed into the treatment, done it for her, and something goes wrong, like she has severe swelling, then she might be hesitant to communicate that with me. She may be hesitant to follow my next advice, and she might be hesitant to come back. So again, your client consultation is so important, not only due to the information that you are giving your client, the information that you are receiving from your client, but that opportunity to establish a relationship. Okay, let me quickly take you through. I'm actually just gonna grab this. Trolley setup, I really only have what I absolutely need, so that I'm not risking contaminating anything that shouldn't be there. And then with regards to your documents, you need your consultation documents, you need your disclosure and consent forms, so your legal documents. You've got to have a record form for your client where you can keep record of exactly what you've done, pre and post care documents. I've done a voiceover for this video because the sound quality with masks is just not good enough, so enjoy. Okay, so let's really look at which document should you have prepared for your client. So at Premier, we have the general procedure document, then we have our disclosure or waiver informed consent document, we have our client record form, and of course the pre and post instructions. So let's look at these individually. Okay, so firstly, why do we actually have them? So we've briefly gone through that. One, to determine whether or not the client is in fact a good candidate for this treatment, to see if there's any contraindications that exist. Two, to ensure that we do not leave out any important information and that we make sure that the client is completely, fully informed about the procedure. And three, to establish trust and set boundaries. Again, just super quickly, I have so many people contacting me after this procedure from all over the world saying, is this normal? Is this botched? I don't know what's going on. And whenever I get those messages, I know that A, the client did not establish trust and set boundaries and do a proper consultation, or B, they forgot to do post-care instructions with the client. So this is, just doing what I'm going to tell you in this video really eliminates that happening. Okay, so one, general procedure document. This document in our books is about 4 pages worth of information and questions. For example, we start with the client's personal details, so their name, surname, birth date, contact details, physical address, who referred them to the business, price and costing. Those last two are very important questions to me personally.
If somebody's referring clients to my business, I am definitely going to take care of that person. Obviously, I could be paying, it could be Google, it could be Instagram, it could be YouTube, it could be whatever platform, then I better keep investing in that platform. But if it's a person, I better make sure that that person feels like I'm appreciative of the fact that they're doing the effort to refer me business. Sometimes I'll pay them a commission, sometimes I'll just send them flowers, otherwise just a personal thank you. But if somebody is sending you business, please do not neglect to make them feel appreciated. Pricing and costing, it's a very awkward conversation if there's been miscommunication after the treatment. Especially with this treatment, this is not your most profitable treatment that you can do. So make sure that you have explained to the client exactly the cost involved in today's procedure as well as any procedures going forward. Okay, then it also mentions information about their skin concerns. So asking for this information helps me better understand her needs and also allows me the opportunity to introduce her to other treatments. For example, if we say, we have a list and they mark their skin concerns. So it could be acne, dry skin, fine lines and wrinkles, lax skin, deep wrinkles, frown lines. We ask for specifics because then we can better help that client target those concerns and also find the best solution for her. For example, if the client comes in and it's lax skin, the skin is really it's lax, it's very loose skin, and that is causing deep lines and wrinkles that she wishes to address. I would almost want to call them severe lines and wrinkles she wishes to address. That's not a Hyaluron Pen treatment. That is a skin tightening treatment that is required. A lot of my clients also don't know the difference between I'm going to use the word Botox or hyaluronic acids or fillers. So again, sometimes people come to me asking me for something and it's definitely not a Hyaluron Pen related service at all. So understanding their exact concerns definitely helps me determine whether or not this is the best treatment for them. Then we also ask them if they have regular skin treatments, professional skincare treatments. If so, what are they having done? How long ago did they do it? So these are things like peels, needling, lasers, dermafillers. I need to know what they're currently doing or plan to do with regards to what I'm doing, so I know that if the service, so that I can see, are the services complementary? Is there a healing period? I can work all of that info out. We also ask them about active skin conditions. Again, we have a list to go through. Here, the most important one relating to Hyaluron Pen is herpes simplex. If they are prone to fever blisters, we need to get them on antivirals because the trauma caused to the lip during this procedure can ignite a little cold sore to come through if they have the herpes simplex virus. We also ask them about their medical history. So for example, this is quite a long list that we have, but just to touch on it, do they have issues with abnormal heart conditions, blood pressure, bleeding disorders, autoimmune diseases, diabetes? Are they pregnant? Here you can identify when there are contraindications, and here you can also see in what medical condition is your client currently, how healthy is she, what concerns does she have, and are those going to impact your actual service. Now, something that I always explain to my students is to treat each individual as an individual and look at their overall health. Do the risks outweigh the rewards? If she looks healthy, she lives a healthy lifestyle, she has a balanced diet, lots of water, gets adequate sleep, she looks super healthy, but maybe she has an autoimmune disease, then I need to assess, does the autoimmune disease affect her in a negative way that would compromise the results of my treatment? So obviously if her autoimmune has an effect on like the thickness of her skin, the quality of her skin, and like a bleeding disorder, then obviously yes, I definitely have to take it into consideration. But let's say she's got something like alopecia and it's currently quite dormant. She hasn't had anything, or if it's LIGO, anyway, nothing's changed in about a 2-year period. And she's healthy, then I don't really see why I can't go ahead with the treatment. However, now this was maybe not the best example to use, as an autoimmune disease is the most complicated. But anyway, I started, so let me continue. So autoimmune disease is obviously, yes, quite complicated because when a client has an autoimmune disease, their body is attacking itself for an unknown reason, and it makes that they respond in an unpredictable way to treatment, and that includes other treatments, not only it actually includes all my treatments, not just Hyaluron Pen. But that just means that I can't really predict exactly how well she will or will not respond to the treatment. And therefore I always just have a very cautious approach, and I also make sure that the clients are very well aware. They could have excessive bruising that I just didn't that I wasn't able to predict. So obviously whatever the autoimmune disease is, make sure that you look it up. Never be afraid to ask your client's doctor for permission. If you are unsure, you should always feel like you can contact a medical practitioner or somebody else that you feel would have the needed knowledge to help you make the correct decision with regards to your client's health. If the client comes in and they maybe don't have any of the issues on my medical conditions list, but they're on antibiotics and they're really haven't been feeling good, and they're not getting good sleep, they've got a very stressful life, they don't drink any water, then again they even though they've not got any medical conditions, they're not a good candidate for my treatment because they're not drinking any water, their bodies aren't at optimum health, they're currently not healthy, which means when I'm inflicting trauma and I'm expecting the body to respond in a specific way, it might not be the outcome. So assess each individual as an individual and always outweigh the risk versus the reward, and call and outsource somebody, call their doctor or ask for advice if you need to. Then we also ask them about chronic medications and supplements. Anything that they're taking on a daily basis, I definitely want to know about. Doesn't matter what that is. But very specifically, like, are they taking any anticoagulants? Are they taking supplements like omegas? Omegas also contribute in a big way to bruising and swelling. Do they drink stimulants like gym pills, diet pills? Are they, do they drink high volumes of caffeine or alcohol? What is in their systems that could cause the blood to be thinner or the skin to be thinner? Are they on like Accutanes or Reaccutane medications? Because that's definitely, I'm not going to work on a client whose skin is that paper thin. So make sure that you really have assessed the medication that they are taking and how that impacts their skin and their blood and their health, and then you base your decision on whether or not they can have this treatment done on that. Then our next document is our waiver and indemnity document. Very important document to ensure both yourself and your client are protected and fully informed. Before undergoing any procedure, you have to know every single risk involved. I remember when I went for derma fillers a few years ago, the doctor that I went to, he was very, very thorough, amazing doctor. Anyway, he, during the consultation, also had to say to me, do you know that you can go blind? Do you know that you could die? Still, I went through with it. So, these documents are not there to scare or alarm clients. They're there in an attempt to fully inform your clients so that they absolutely understand and agree to, they're fully informed and they want to go ahead with the procedure. But Premier taught me this from the very first course I did with them, like 10 years ago. Exaggerate the risks and downplay the rewards. That way, even if the worst thing happened and your client had severe swelling and severe bruising, and the downtime led to a poor result or whatever the case may be, they're still happy because you gave them the worst case scenario and said that is something that could take place, and explained it to them, discussed it with them, have complete transparency, and they agreed, and then they will be happy regardless of what happens. Other items that we mentioned on this document, for example, is the fact that there are no needles involved. Is the client over the age of 18? It isn't covered by any form of medical aid. There are always risks of lumps, of swelling, bruising. It is a layering process, so they will need multiple procedures. Pre and post care must be followed. Photography, we need to market ourselves, and we need to be able to use their photographs in social media. Or for whatever reasons we need them, that there's cancellation policies, allergy testing. If they have, if we tell them to seek medical attention, they have to do so. If they have to take time off from work, they can't hold us responsible. It's endless. We have a 2-pager for this document, and I am eternally grateful for my company, for Premier, for giving us such a comprehensive document, because again, it makes sure that I've so fully informed that client that regardless of what happens, it's something that we discussed, and it's not a huge shock to her, because if she is informed, then she will respond in a much more reasonable way if something were to go wrong. Then we have our client record form. Very important. This has saved my butt a few times. But anyway, on this document, it needs to have information like the consultation date, the date of the procedure, the total costing of the procedure that you've quoted the client, what serums did you use. I'm sure a lot of us use a variety of serums. What exactly I write out, the exact mapping I did for the client, what size shots I did where, any special concerns or requests that the client has, I write on this document. Any recommendations regarding the future treatments, I write on this document. I do not miss a beat here. I completely fully I draw pictures. Like, this document is, I know how badly I've depended on this document in my career of, you know, being in the industry like this for so many years. When people return after like 4 or 5 years, you struggle to remember them, let alone what you did, and this document can really be a huge help to you then. With regards to Hyaluron Pen, I've only needed it once. A client had a tiny little lesion on her lip. Was it a little bump? It didn't have any effect on her life. She never got it diagnosed. It wasn't malignant or anything, but it was there. Didn't really ever bother her either, but I picked it up obviously because I was working on the area, and we did her treatments. About a year passed. She came back and she didn't complain. She just said to me, "I don't understand why I still have this little bump over here." And I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so weird. And I went back to her form, and I'd actually drawn a picture of the bump on during her initial treatment, because luckily I identified it then already, and I was able to show her that that has actually not got anything to do with the Hyaluron Pen procedure that we did. That was there to begin with. It's also, obviously, you know, with people, it's in our nature to find fault with ourselves. So yeah, it's best that you have good photos and good record keeping to make sure that you have absolute evidence of what an area looked like before you came in and treated it. Then of course your pre and post care, very important. 3 instructions first. So if they have recently had any facial treatments done or near the area that you wish to treat, make sure that they have informed you about it. Avoid drinking like anticoagulant medications prior to the appointment. Avoid beverages high in caffeine and alcohol before the appointment. Exfoliate and hydrate the lips for about 3 days prior to the appointment. That is, in my opinion, a super important step. Optimal hydration levels will be hugely beneficial to your results. With regards to post-care treatment, make sure that you've informed them about the recovery process, what to expect, what is normal, what is not normal. Risk of infection, again, remind them about how hyaluronic acid works and why they won't see instant results and the type of treatment that this is, and compare it to dermal fillers so that people can understand that there is a difference and how your treatment works versus that treatment, because maybe that is a better alternative for them, and you guys can identify it here, prevent her wasting any money and prevent you from having a disappointed client.
For the aftercare, I give my clients the following things. The arnica oil to, if in case there's any bruising or swelling, this is just going to help if they massage with it so that they can prevent any excessive bruising and swelling and break down any bruising and swelling quickly. I give them a soothing lip balm. That's just to help keep the area hydrated and lock in moisture. Then I also give them something like a Rehydrate, anything that has electrolytes in it, because it'll help restore the lipid barriers and lock in moisture and help build that up. And yeah, that is all together in the aftercare kit. Great, thank you so much for watching today. I really hope that you learned something new. I hope that this helps you create a better experience, a more professional experience for your clients, and I hope this helps you identify when somebody is not a good candidate for Hyaluron Pen, whether it is due to unrealistic expectations, whether it's due to their medical history, whether it is due to their lifestyle. Sometimes it's just not the ideal solution, and then nobody's happy with the end result. So it's not good for you and it's not good for them, it's just not good for business. So I hope that you learned something new. Please remember to comment, please remember to subscribe, like, share. Again, any and all feedback is welcome. Thank you.